The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Edition of Big Issue. And of course, we are looking at extra budgetary spending, lottery trust fund in the eye of the storm. My name is Winifred Webo, and of course, recently there was an announcement by the National Assembly, who had been having interactions with ministries, departments, and agencies on concerning the medium-term expenditure framework. And of course, there were so many mind-boggling revelations coming from there. And one of the revelations is that most of these generating agencies are actually spending all that they are generating. With me in the house, in the studio, to discuss this issue is an in-house analyst, Sunday Iswa and James Quinn. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, nice.
Yes. Of course, we saw some reports coming from there, and before we add your views to the ongoing saga, let's have a play of the video we have.
Have spent so far is about roughly the same amount.
No reason. Appropriation.
Yes, sir.
And then
What
you
is well
generate
capital.
IGR.
Yes, sir.
Fiscal responsibility. What does the law says regarding a fully funded agencies and its IGR?
Welcome back. The program is Big Issue. We are talking about extra budgetary spending, lottery trust fund in the eye of the storm. Like I mentioned earlier, and National Lottery Trust Fund revealed, that is headed by Bello Magari, revealed to James Faleke headed committee of finance that they were actually spending all that is generating. Of course, this didn't sit well with James Faleke, the chair of the committee of finance. So James, Sunday as well, what do you have to say about this? Should such agencies be removed from your budget line?
Exactly, because these are agencies who are generating money, and at the end of the day, they still collect money from the federation account as budgetary allocation to pay their salaries, to do contracts. So what is the essence of that very organization? So I think that if an organization which is not a revenue generating organization can even remit their entire earnings to the federal government before getting 40% to run their affairs, then why should a revenue organization now spend the entire money they generated? That means they are running a separate government, which I think the government and the National Assembly should look into it and ensure that such agencies are removed from the budgetary allocation, because they have a lot to run their affairs, to pay their staff salaries, and also do other projects. They are supposed to be helping in the running of the government, not to generate money and spend it. I feel that that issue should be taken very seriously.
All right, thank you so much. Now back to James. James, Bello Magari has been there for over 3 years now as chief executive officer of Lottery Trust Fund. Don't you think that these chief executives, they do report to a senior, is it head of service or chief of staff? So how come they've not been able to checkmate this all these years?
Okay, thank you so much. Like the Lottery Trust Fund is under Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, as it is. Hitherto to that, it was under the Office of the Secretary to Government of the Federation. So they are, in the case of Lottery Trust Fund, they have to report to the minister, who has a cabinet responsibility to oversee the agency. So the question now is,
as the supervisory agency,
the minister, whether the ministry, supervisory ministry, it has been playing its role or not. That is the issue at hand now,
because over the years, at least if it's reporting to a supervisory organization or an officer, they're supposed to have put him in check, because he's not only the agency that is getting of this, because while I was in the field, there are cases of some agencies, generating agencies, also doing the same. So what should be done apart from just removing them from the budget line. Don't you think that this one is also serving as a maybe wake up call to other agencies?
Yeah, I think this chief executive officer is just trying to be clever, because he knows that the new minister who is supposed to supervise him is a new person. Zafania Gisalo is the minister of special duties, and so this man, I think the minister should make sure they investigate this matter. This issue should not be left in the hand of the National Assembly alone. Let them investigate this matter, because the supervisory minister that was there when all these monies were generated and spent is no longer there. We now have a new minister. Yes, so I think the new minister should also go in there. Let him make sure he check. But it is the responsibility of the National Assembly, you know, to make sure that all projection, all expenditures that ministries, agencies, and parastatals, you know, spend or generated, you know, in the fiscal year, they should investigate them and know where they default. But this man cannot tell Nigerians that all that he generated, that he spent it all. No.
Okay, no.
This is a trust fund.
Yes.
Apart from the fact that they generate their money, all these betting companies, they push in money there, because it's a trust fund. They gather a lot of money to execute projects. You know, all these Bet Niger, whatever, I don't even know their names. They are pushing monies there, you know, and helping to see, okay, if there are places of intervention, then the government can take in that money and
but
intervene.
You know, the chief executive officer Bello Mengare did say that they have also so many projects that deploy this money in. So is it that these projects, they are not in tandem with what the federal government actually earmarked or by law for this trust fund?
You see, now if somebody is making that kind of statement, because for every project you want to execute, you must submit your proposal
to your supervising.
Yes, to the supervisory ministry, and the ministry includes all those projects in the budget. And so if the money is not released to them to execute that project, and they have their own money that they want to execute that project, then they should have stated it clearly.
Yes, we have written for it. Yes,
we are written for this, but we have money to carry out this project. Are we supposed? Because I think there was a circular, you know, mandating ministries, departments, and parastatals to remit all their revenue
to the
generation to the federation account, and with that, the government can release 40% to them to execute their project. So now you just generate money and you spend it. That means that single treasury account, what do they call it? TSA is not binded on them.
TSA,
you know,
it's not binding on them. Yes, thank you so much for that. Now I'm going to talk to James. What will be the outcome of this National Assembly probe? Because we've seen prior to this one or before then, all the probes the National Assembly have been conducting to date has always ended up in the cupboard or whatever you want to call it. Because look at what Nigerians were entertained with that Federal Character Commission probe. At the end of the day, nothing happened. So what are we expecting the National Assembly to do in this instance?
Okay, in a fairness to, let me just be fair to National Assembly. Not being fair to them, giving them benefit of the doubt. Because the present 10th Assembly started in June, and all this probe is all within a period of let's say 6 or 5 months ago. Most of these committees are still submitting their reports in the plenary, though most of them have not been considered. But I'm still giving a benefit of hope.
That's something will actually come out of the probe.
So this one too, because the way James Faleke, the chairman of the Finance Committee, sounded,
it was highly provoked.
Yes, the way he sounded, let's wait and see. Because first, he placed the Lottery Trust Fund on statute inquiry. By statute inquiry, they are going to, he said it, he even explained it, the committee is going to engage the services of an external auditor, not government auditor, that will come and investigate all their financial. In fact, according to quoting verbatim from day one, that is assumed the day that Bello Mengare took over as the chief executive of that trust fund. And also, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation too was also joined in the probe, was asked to also conduct, I think, a separate probe of that,
But
as
I
well
think
as
that should be the work of the Auditor General.
well,
Yes.
why the
Since it has to do with audit.
Audits, yes. But why are they?
well,
Jim
he
Fowler
said they
they
should
said they were going to
investigate
bring
because
external.
no, what I talk about the Accountant General, I think the sense is that the Accountant General, as it is supposed to be the catchman of the Federation.
Okay.
Yes, he handles it. He is the catchman of the Federation.
But
So
the money
office-
did not even get to him.
Yeah.
But do you think?
No, that is no. It's for them to also come out clean because they also have a supervisory role to play there.
Yes.
The same thing with Fiscal Responsibility Commission too, which is mandated by law, which has the power, the mandate to make sure that remittances of revenue or all financial transactions are in tandem with the laws of the land. So we are hopefully, because Faleke will go on to
That
say
this
that
probe will not just end.
yes, they will take
in
they will
media
submit
trial.
the reports in the plenary. So we'll wait for that day, the outcome of it, and when it becomes the plenary. And you know, as it is, the legislative process at times takes a long period.
Okay, now I want to find out from you Sunday. When this probe is out, of course, the chief executive Bello Magari is indicted. If we are just preempting, do you think the National Assembly has a power over these chief executives appointments, government executive appointments? Because we've seen in the past where even National Assembly will summon some of these chief executives to come to National Assembly for him, and they refused, and nothing is done. That was what we saw playing out in the last year's administration. So, do they have the power to go beyond the probe?
You know, President Tinubu is a former senator. His wife is a former senator. The vice president is a former senator. These people understand the legislative activities. And so what was happening during the previous administration as it relates to the National Assembly cannot happen now. Now, even if the National Assembly do not have the power to remove a chief executive, once they write their report to the president recommending that this person should be asked, it should be sacked, then the president can act in that direction. And then there are some chief executive that the president cannot just remove them. He needs the powers of the National Assembly to do that. You know, so if Megari was not confirmed, was not screened and confirmed by the Senate, it's just the president that can sack him. But if he was screened and confirmed by the National Assembly, then they will still do the same process and remove him.
All right, thank you. Now, James, you say that this is a wake-up call to other chief executives, because my guts tell me that Bello Mangari, the chief executive officer of Lottery Trust Fund, may not just be the only culprit. Maybe there are others.
No, he definitely not. There are others, but only that his case was quite pronounced because the man, in his own words, also keep reiterating that we spent all of it. We generated more and we spent all. Because many of these
at least they
agencies,
self-funded government funded
yes,
agency.
treasury founded there, because it's being founded by the consolidated revenue of the federation. From it, that is how it is. The money is channeled to it. So it's not supposed to generate its revenue and spend, because it's not a self-servicing agency that has to generate its money, take care of itself, and give the statutory percentage to the government, the federal government. So it's not just Megari, because the probe committee, the Committee on Finance is going ahead, or is continuing with the interaction with agencies or concerning the MTF. Yes. So as events unfold, as more agencies appear, because even on that same day, others also appeared, but at that time some of them could not tender their remittances documents. So they were given, like, I know of Federal Road Safety and Lagos Trade Fair Complex that are agreed to come tomorrow with all the documents relating or showing their remittances to the federal government.
So what should we look at for? You from Sunday.
Well, we'll follow up concerning this investigation because there are a lot of agencies that I know that are also doing that. The MASA was in the Senate, and we are saying that they are not revenue generating agency, that they are an agency that or they regulate, you know. But even if you regulate, we know NIMASA, we know what is involved, you know. So the law said that okay, what you generate, you send it to the federation account, and they release what you need to spend. But I'm telling you, these chief executive are just doing what they feel like doing, and I think the National Assembly should rise up to its responsibility, especially the public accounts committees should also liaise with the finance committees and appropriation committees and ensure that they put these agencies of government to their toes.
James,
Okay, well,
what are we expecting?
what I'm expecting, I'm optimistic that the National Assembly it tool lacks teeth to bite, but just like Sunday said, they now have teeth to bite because even the Secretary to Government of the Federation, the former senator, is one minority leader for that matter. So they should know that they don't have to play with the recommendations or just dump the recommendations of the National Assembly in the dustbin, because if that is done, we know that it's a conspiracy, and as a Chinese proverb or adage says, that a fish starts rotting from the head. So
I was expecting you to use Chinese language to tell you that.
so the onus is also on the federal government, because in fact these are the first trials of the government, which is just barely 6 months old, and because it also talks about fighting corruption, and to National Assembly too, especially the House of Representatives, corruption, strengthening the war against corruption is conspicuously in their
Agenda,
in
the
their
eighth.
legislative agenda.
8-point agenda. All right, thank you so much. Now, before we go, just in relation to what we have been talking of, the FCC, the Federal Character Commission probe, what came out of it eventually?
I think James should have that.
There was a
answer,
report
because
recently that nothing was done or nothing has been done about it, and such is the fate of most probes from the National Assembly. That is why most people feel that James Faleke, the chair committee of finance, was actually doing a media trial. Do you subscribe to that?
Not quite in the sense that, like I said earlier, I'm still giving it a benefit of the doubt because the report has not been presented. To my knowledge, the report has not been laid on the floor of the House, because it is when it is laid, and maybe for some time, if it's not slated for consideration and approval, it is then we now know. But for now, most of those probes committees are still compiling their reports, and of course, they were given marching orders by the speaker quite recently that they should make their report ready, or else, because it's going to be a continuation. Because from what the speaker said, if any of the ad hoc committees, in the case of the one that probes the job racketeering, if it fails, then the standing committee will now take over the probe. And already the chairman of that committee, the former deputy speaker, Idris Wase, has already indicated interest, with his no-nonsense posture always portrayed. He has indicated interest to take over, to launch another full-fledged investigation into the Federal Character Commission. So maybe from now to we keep monitoring the events and development and see
how it pans out.
Yes.
Obvious, we've come to the end of today's The Big Issue, where we've been discussing on extra budgetary spending, National Lottery Trust Fund in the eye of the storm. And of course, with me in the studio has been an in-house analyst, Sunday Siwa and James Gwen, with your host, Winifred Webo. Of course, we've been discussing on the probe, the ongoing probe of MDAs, that is ministries, departments, and agencies, on medium-term expenditure framework, that is MTEF, and of course how it has gone. Of course, there were mind-boggling revelations revealing that some agencies were actually generating their revenue and spending it, some of which is the National Lottery Trust Fund. Well, we are going to be on that story. It's a developing story. We'll keep you posted on how it goes. This is where we end today's program. I'm Winifred Webber. See you same time next week on the program. Bye.